Hello, fellow appraisers. This is Brandon again with Choice Valuation. So, in this video, I'm going to be going over our settings options in Spark. This is going to be a more in-depth, detailed look at our settings options. We do have a shorter video, so if you want to watch the shorter video, now's the time to click the link here and go watch that video instead. I know some of you like watching the shorter videos, some of you like the more in-depth, detailed videos, so we're doing one for both of you. So let's get started. You can see I'm already in the results screen here of in Spark. So we have two basic kinds of options in Spark. We've got your line item options, and you can tell which ones there are because they're in blue. So if it's in blue, it's clickable, and you can change the settings. And over here, we have our general settings. So you click on this gear icon, and you choose general settings to get to those. So I'm going to click there and show you what we've got. So first, picture size, default picture size. I also want to point out over here in yellow, it's going to tell you what it actually is and does. So if you have any questions, this little yellow tooltip over here will show you, and let me show you what I mean. When I hover over here, you can see it shows something. Same here. So picture size, when Spark throws your comps into your grid, it's also going to make sure that the relevant photo addenda is there as well. And if not, it's going to create that photo addenda page, and it's going to determine what size photos to put in there based on your setting here. A la mode gives you three options for the photo sizes, small, medium, and large, so you choose which one you want to use, and that's it. Next is reorder comps. If you choose yes, that means it's going to reorder your comps from closed to pending to active, as it shows over there on the right in yellow. If you choose no, it's just going to leave them in whatever order they were in from your MLS file that you exported. Okay, next, abbreviation for unknown. When Spark doesn't know what to put into your grid, it will use a question mark or whatever you type in here. If you wanted to leave it blank if it doesn't know, you do that. You can type in whatever you want, and it will put that in. I prefer to use a question mark because that sticks out to me in my grid, and I know that it's something I need to look at. Basically, this is going to happen. It's going to be unknown if an agent didn't enter in the information or they entered it in a weird way that wasn't recognizable, then that will also be unknown. Other things are unknown too, like for views, it doesn't put in automatically whether it's neutral, adverse, or beneficial view. So that's something you got to put in as well. So it puts in a question mark there. Non-UAD separator. These, and again over on the right it shows you. Most appraisers use like a /, a hyphen, or a semicolon, but this is what it's going to use to separate fields. For example, heating and cooling. It's going to use a / to separate, for example, my FWA from my CAC. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to hit Take Me Back. It says if you tried to change something, it looks like you tried to change something. If you continue, any changes will be lost. So I'm going to hit Cancel and hit Save because I forgot to hit Save. Take Me Back. Okay, so this is the separator. It's this / right here that it uses throughout the report. Now, this only applies to non-UAD fields because UAD uses a semicolon by default. So that's it. If I don't like the /, I can come in here, go to the gear, general settings, and I'll change that to a hyphen, save changes, take me back, and there we go. Now it's using a hyphen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the other settings. That's it for general settings. Now we'll get into the detailed ones. So data source is our top one. This is what you define whatever is going to go before your listing number. So right now I have it saying MLS and then the #. So I can come in here and change that to what I should have, which is ARMLS #, save changes, take me back, and there we go. ARMLS #, and then the listing number. Verification source. Now this one you have a couple options. You can choose to not populate it at all, meaning it'll leave that line blank. You can choose to populate it with your parcel number. Let me show you what that looks like. Pretty obvious here. Puts in your parcel number. You can also define what goes before the parcel number. You can get rid of that. You can have it put nothing there. But I have APN in there right now. Okay, and then you can also choose to put something in there and customize it. So I just wanted to say doc number, and then I'm going to go in and manually type in whatever my docket number is for that publicly recorded document. Okay, so save changes, take me back. Okay, there we go. We have my docket number in there. Sale type is the next one down the line. Now, most of these are going to be very similar on down the line. Most of these are basically abbreviations, how you want to abbreviate whatever's over here on the left. And this only applies to non-UAD reports and or fields. So, for example, REO, short sale, court ordered, and relocation sale, those are all defined by UAD guidelines. But for a non-UAD report, it's going to use whatever you type in here. So what you type in here will not affect a UAD report. It will use whatever it's supposed to for UAD. For example, arm's length, I can type in something crazy here and save changes, take me back. It's still going to use what it should use for arm length because this is a UAD report. Now I can switch over to non-UAD, which I'll do right now, and now you can see that it used in whatever garbage I typed in right there. I want to get rid of that and put in what I want. So let's do that real quick. That's what I want to use. I'll hit save changes and take me back. And there we go. Now it says arm length. And let's go ahead and go back to our UAD report. Okay, now same thing for concessions. Your financing settings, again, very similar. You type in here whatever you wanted to use for non-UAD because these are defined by UAD, most of them. And in some areas, these settings are going to look quite a bit different. So what we try to do is we try to maximize the accuracy of the data that goes into your report for each and every MLS. So your settings that you see might look significantly different than this. Like you might have a much longer list here because in some MLSs, there's a whole lot more financing options that you have to choose from. So this is just my MLS right here, but yours, you might have, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different options. So if it's one that has a UAD predefined abbreviation, it will use that in a UAD report. If it's not, like I believe seller carryback is not defined by UAD. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I believe it's not. So if not, then in this case, it'll use whatever I type in here for a UAD and a non-UAD report. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit take me back. All right. Now let's go on down to site size. Now, site size is obviously predefined by UAD. So when it got up to 43,560, it switched over to acres, has in the correct abbreviation at the end, as defined by UAD. But for a non-UAD report, which I'll switch over to right now, those are not predefined. So you can choose what you want to display after the number, and you can also choose if you want this to be in square feet or acres. So just click on site. Right here, choose square feet or acres. Let's go ahead and switch that over to acres for fun. And it's going to use this after acres. Again, you can make that blank. You can change it to whatever you want. I like acres, so we'll hit save changes and take me back. Now you can see everything is displayed in acres. Okay, let's move on down. Let's actually switch back over to our UAD. Go down to view. View, again, very similar as far as the abbreviations go, except you have a couple extra options. So whatever your views are, and again, in some MLSs, this is a very long list of the possible views. In my MLS, we only have 2 predefined view settings that an agent can enter in, city lights and mountains. So you put in here what you want to put in for non-UAD reports. For UAD, it'll use whatever the predefined option is. Now up here, the very first option, include views. If you want this line to be left alone and completely blank and just want to type it in yourself, choose no. And then you can see that it leaves that completely blank. But you can also choose yes. And then you have one other option to pick from, and that is default to particular view. So what that means is if the view is unknown because the agent didn't enter in a view for it, for the property, then you can choose to default to a particular view by choosing yes. And then for a UAD report, it'll use whatever you type here, and for non-UAD, it'll use whatever you type here. So as you can see, it's using the neutral residential option for these views, and you can see that we also have some that say mountain views and city sky views, and then the question mark because it doesn't know if it's neutral, adverse, or beneficial. And we can go back and change the view to no. So default to particular view no, So now if it doesn't know the view, it's going to leave it blank. So I'm going to hit Save Changes, take me back. So now you can see these views are blank except for the ones that have views noted, which are these three. Well, that's it. Okay. So I did notice that these three were up at the front before and now they're at the back, and I think it's because I changed our general setting. So it's now leaving them in the order they were in from MLS instead of putting listings at the back. So you can see we have a listing up here as Comp 9, but these are sales. So I don't like that. I'm going to change the general setting. So reorder comps, yes. Save changes, take me back. So now closed sales are up at the front. There we go, I like that better. Okay, so now next is we have design style. Again, you type in whatever you want to use for the abbreviation, and that's it. Pretty basic stuff. And this, again, will be longer or shorter based on your MLS. Oh, there is something I should point out on that line. So here, this by default, this is blank. So let me show you what that looks like. So, for example, right here, the agent didn't enter in what style of property this is. For this one, they did enter that it's a ranch. Probably have some others in here. There's ranch, Spanish. But on some of them, the agents entered nothing in. So you can choose to default to something or just leave it as unknown. So I'm going to choose to default to ranch just for demonstration purposes here. Hit Save Changes and take me back. Now that question mark turns into ranch. And it makes everything a ranch that's otherwise unknown. Age, pretty straightforward. It's defined by UAD, so it is what it is. For non-UAD reports, you can define what it displays after the age. I have years being displayed. There's no space between the number and the years, and I don't really like that. So I'm going to click on age, and I'm going to enter in a space right there. Hit Save Changes, take me back, and there we go. Now there's a space there. Basement and finished. Now, in Arizona, we have basically one option here that agents enter in for basements, and that's either there is a basement or there is not. We don't know. There's no fields that tell us how many bedrooms and bathrooms there are, how big the basement's going to be. In general, we don't have that information. So if the listing says no basement, it puts in 0. You can define what square footage is, or square feet, right here. I'm going to hit Take Me Back. Let's go over to a UAD. So you can see it's 0 SF. If there is a basement, since it doesn't know anything about the basement, it just puts in a question mark. So this property has a basement, but we don't know anything about it. So it just puts in whatever your abbreviation is for unknown, and that's it. Just so that one sticks out to you and you know that you got to do something with that. Heating and cooling. And from here on out, a lot of these settings are going to be very straightforward. But heating and cooling, you just type in whatever your abbreviation is for each of them. Again, your list may be a lot longer depending on your MLS. Energy efficient items, same thing. You type in whatever your abbreviation is for those. Remember that the hyphen here was defined by me. I don't really like the hyphen, so I'm going to go back into general settings, change my separator from a hyphen to a /, hit save. There we go. Back to a /. Now keep it, I skipped over basement a little bit here, but if you're in another area where basements are prevalent and you have a lot of information about basements, it will put in that information as best it can. So it's going to fill out these fields as best that it can for those. And I'll show you one of those towards the end of the video here. Let's go ahead and move on down. Garage carport. Now this one is a little different. Now you can tell it whether you want to default to a certain type of garage. So if in a lot of MLSs, the type of garage, whether attached or detached or built in, is not defined as a separate field, or it's not defined at all in the listing. So in those cases, it would have no information in there, so it'd put in your abbreviation for unknown. That's the case in my MLS. This is not entered in by the agents. So I choose to go ahead and populate them all with detached, because all the properties I work on have attached garages. So by default, it's going to switch over to attached when it doesn't know. Default condo parking. So for UAD reports, what you put for whether it's assigned, unassigned, or owned, or just leave it alone and have it be blank. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's switch over to a condo, and you can just click here. Let's say you messed up and you meant to choose condo and you didn't. You can click on here, switch over to a condo report, and you can see this right here. So 2 covered spaces and then question mark for unknown. So let's say I want to make that always say assigned, unassigned, or owned. I'll click there. I'll change it over to, let's say assigned. So when it doesn't know, it will put in whatever you chose, and so it changes over to assigned. All right, so let's go ahead and switch back to our 1004, and I think there was one other option I wanted to show you. Yeah, on the garages here. So for the number of driveways, because that's a defined field by UAD, most MLSs do not give accurate information for the actual number of driveway spaces there are. You can choose to use whatever your MLS says, or you can choose to default to whatever your garage and or carport count is. So it'll use whatever your garage count is. If you have no garage in the property, then it will use whatever your carport count is. If you don't have a garage or a carport, it'll just use whatever the number is from MLS. So my MLS is like that. Our driveway counts are usually highly inaccurate, so I default to whatever the garage and or carport count is. Again, just type in whatever your abbreviations are for these, and you're good to go. I'll hit Save Changes and take me back. Next we have porches and patios. You just type in your abbreviation, same as most of the others. Okay, now we're on to the bottom three lines. So pool features. These bottom three, you can define how you want them to appear. So we have, right now at the launch of Spark, we have 5 options to choose from: pool features, fireplaces, exterior features, fencing, and parcel number. Actually, there's a 6th, because you can also choose none. You can choose to have nothing displayed on that line. So I'm going to have pool features. If I switched over to fencing, I just click there. It brings up my fencing options. I just type in my abbreviation for those. I believe I already showed you parcel number. Maybe I didn't, but parcel number, you type in whatever you want displayed before the parcel number. If you don't want anything displayed before the parcel number, you just delete that out, hit Save Changes, take me back. Now you can see parcel numbers right there. All right, let's switch back over to swimming pools. I like my abbreviations. Also, if you don't like the word swimming pools being displayed on the description, you just change that over to whatever you want displayed. So I'll hit Save Changes, and you can see now on the left the descriptive area for that line says pool features instead of swimming pools, and our pool information is in here. Okay, I do want to point out one thing. So you can see I have exterior amenities in here. So since a swimming pool in many cases is also an exterior amenity, we made it so that it knows when they both exist, and it will not populate them both. So if you have the swimming pool line in here, it's also not going to show you that there's a pool in your exterior amenities. But if I get rid of that swimming pool feature, so you can see it says pool and none, if I get rid of that swimming pool line, I make it fencing, Save Changes, take me back. Now you can see that the pool now populates in the exterior amenities field. And something similar happens with fireplaces. Let me show you here. So click on fireplaces. Now, in many MLSs, you can tell whether a fireplace is an indoor or an outdoor fireplace. So in those MLSs, you're going to have this drop-down tab right here. And you can choose to either include your fireplace on this line if it's an outdoor fireplace, or only include outdoor fireplaces on the exterior features line. So if I click that, then I save changes. Let's see, I believe there's some, let's see, I should have done this the other way, but okay, so yeah, you can see outdoor fireplace is now showing up on the exterior amenities line. There's one here as well. So comps 8 and 9, we have an outdoor fireplace. It shows no fireplace on line for comp 8 and 1 fireplace for comp 9 on the fireplace line. So if I change that, so now the outdoor fireplaces are included in the fireplace field, I'll hit Save Changes and take me back. Now for comps 8 and 9, you can see the fireplace went from none to 1, and it no longer shows the outdoor fireplace here. And then comp 9, it went from 1 fireplace to 2, and the outdoor fireplace no longer shows up here. So anyways, that's pretty much it as far as how this works. If you want to get rid of a line, you just want it to show nothing, then you can just click on it, choose none, and let me show you here. Okay, so if I choose none, I can then, for the line description, type in whatever I want here. So let me show you. So it's going to show none here and then leave all these blank. But I can change that. So if you have some field you always use on that bottom line, but you want to type it yourself, then you can type in whatever you want to call that line. Let's say special amenities. Save changes, take me back. So now it's going to pre-populate that with special amenities, leave it blank for you to type in whatever you want. You can also choose to leave any of the other 2 lines that are left blank as well. So none and none. I could just change everything to none if I want to, and also predefine whatever it enters on that line. That's pretty much it. I think we covered all the settings. Thanks everybody for watching. Actually, you know what? I realized there was one other thing I wanted to show you. Just briefly wanted to show you what the basements look like in another area, just to be a little more descriptive here, because also the settings can be a bit different. Let me go to, let's refresh and start over here. So I'm going to choose, let's choose Maryland, MRIS, UAD 1004. I'm going to pick a file here real quick. Maryland, let's do an SFR. Okay, so here you can see the basement lines are much more populated than they were in my area because there's a lot more information known about the basements. So if I click on the basement line here, my option is slightly different. So in this case, I can choose what type of basement to default to when the agent didn't specifically state whether it's an interior only, a walkout, or a walk-up. I can default to one of those. So I can choose one, hit Save Changes, take me back, and it will automatically put that information in. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to show you that. Again, thanks everybody for watching. If you have questions, please feel free to give me a call. Our contact information is on the website at choicevaluation.com. Also email, whatever you prefer. And we also just launched our open development page, which is actually a Trello board. So you can go there, you can see what we're working on in the moment, what we have in the works, what we've already finished. You can add your own features that you'd like to see added. You can vote for things that other appraisers have put in there. Pretty cool features, so check it out if and when you have time. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye-bye.